Names Without Numbers is a 4-piece rock and roll band from the Midwest United States. Having formed in the summer of 2000, they have gone on to play hundreds of shows in a variety of places, and after an extended period away from making music together, they are back in the studio making more music in their unique style. Today we will be talking to their guitarist, Dave Owens, and before we get into the deep meat and bones of the interview, can you tell me a little bit about yourself? Why are you into music in the first place? Where did this passion come from?
Yeah, I mean, as far as being my passion for music, I personally grew up in a very musical family. My mom is a singer, and my dad plays the drums primarily, but also plays guitar and sings. They were all involved in church and like worship teams, and my dad was in a rock and roll band. All my cousins, uncles, and pretty much everybody in my family just play music. So being around it, being involved in it was really just very natural for me.
And Names Without Numbers did fairly well in the early 2000s back in the Midwest, and as far as I can tell, you guys were fairly well known within an 8-ish hour radius of your hometown.
Yeah, I mean, we did, I guess you could call it touring. I mean, we played almost 100 shows a year for several years, but really that was all throughout the Midwest. The Midwest is just a tremendous place to tour and to play shows, just because there's a ton of towns all within a small area. Yeah, Kansas City, Chicago, Denver, Des Moines, Omaha, Lincoln, Minneapolis, Duluth. I mean, the list goes on, and like all these places that you could drive to basically within 6 to 8 hours. And so it was pretty awesome.
And while you were doing that, you had a full-time job as well?
Yeah, most of us were trying to hold down full-time jobs. Sometimes we would go through them. We'd have to quit. If we had an extended tour, we needed to go out for, say, 7 to 10 days or something like that. And so sometimes we would just quit our jobs, because I suppose you can do that when you're young and don't have a ton of responsibilities. But yeah, I don't know how we did it. We had jobs and still played about 100 shows a year. It was pretty intense, but tons of fun.
That does sound intense. And from what I've read about you guys, you went to and played a lot of weird places.
Yeah, we've played pretty much everywhere and anywhere that would have it, from birthday parties to churches and youth groups, bars, clubs, festivals, and barns. We actually played a barn out in Iowa one time, and that was probably one of the most memorable shows we ever had, was playing in a barn. It was awesome.
That just sounds like a fun show to go to.
Yeah, it was crazy. I mean, I could really tell you a long story about it, but it was crazy. The barn was packed, just full of kids, high energy. And we actually stayed the night in the barn that night. There was probably about 10 of us. We all stayed the night in the barn. It was about 0 degrees outside, and we almost froze to death with all these little space heaters around us. And it was locked from the outside, so we couldn't get out. So, good time.
And out of all of the places you have played with Names Without Numbers, what would you say is your favorite venue or your favorite show that you have done?
Favorite venue? Man, I don't know. I mean, we played a place up in Minnesota called The Warehouse. So we liked playing there a lot just because we had a lot of friends up north and kind of like the Minnesota and Minneapolis area. I think it's a town was called Wilmer, Minnesota, a place called The Warehouse. It was just tons of fun playing there. We just had, kind of a fan base there. We actually got to open up for the Chariot one time. And that show was intense. That was a New Year's Eve party show. So that's probably one of our favorite venues. That and Cornerstone Festival was always a huge highlight for us. Just amazing people, amazing band.
And then in 2006, the band broke up. Why did that happen?
Yeah, I mean, we get that question a lot. So right around 2006, it was kind of a pivotal time in all of our lives, to where it was either like we really just, we were all in 100%, but it was getting to the point to where, we're playing about 100 shows a year. There's not always a lot of money to be made. And, some of us were getting married and just having more responsibilities added to our plate. And we just weren't on the same page as far as touring and playing shows and being away from home and quitting our jobs if needed. So we all decided just to take a break, from the band. We were all still best friends. None of us hated each other. There was no bad blood. We just simply weren't on the same page as far as the touring aspect goes. So we simply decided to take a break. And that's really the story.
That does seem to happen a lot with bands. Life just seems to catch up and they need to take a step back from going so hard.
Yeah, we were going really hard for several years, which may have killed us. We never really took a break since our first full length came out. We really didn't really ever stop.
So it was just about 3 years of straight touring for you guys?
Yeah, pretty much. When our first record, I shouldn't say our first record, but our full length came out, and we didn't really stop. We just played shows and played, and really pursued it. We talked to a bunch of record labels, big labels, small labels. So we went through all of that process, and we just basically played nonstop, which may have really killed us, but that just brought us to a place where we just honestly just needed a break, focus on family. As I mentioned, some of us were newly married, so we really just needed to focus on that. And I know for me and our lead singer, Ryan, we never really quit playing music, especially me. Like, I never stopped playing music. I was always involved in something, whether it be playing music in the church world or kind of going into the for hire mode. Other bands would hire me to come out and either run front of house, do sound for them on tour. I started doing that for a while. I ran sound. I was a sound engineer for a country bluegrass band. We toured all over the place, Sacramento, Nashville, Memphis, all over. So I never quit. Just the band just took a break for a while.
And during the breakup from the band, you had to take some time away from music. You ended up fracturing your skull. How the heck did that happen? And are you all right now?
Yeah. I'm actually okay.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah, I'm okay. At least I think I am. But yeah, so I personally definitely had a little bit of some health scares there for about a couple of years. It was just a freak accident. I fell down my stairs, fractured my skull, I bruised my brain. Luckily, I had a friend. Kind of funny story. I had a friend staying the night. One of my best friends, JD, was staying the night because we were going to get up real early and go get a motorcycle from Kansas City. But as I was saying goodnight, shutting the lights off, just a freak accident. I fell down the stairs. And basically, luckily, they picked me up, carried me up, took me to the hospital. And I was in the hospital for about 2 weeks. And it was really a sensitive situation. The doctors told my wife that I should have been dead, but I'm not. So super thankful, and I thank God for that every day, that He's not finished with me yet. And the craziest thing about it, though, is when I guess I finally came to, but I was awake the whole time in the hospital. So I wasn't in a coma or anything like that. But to me, it was like my brain turned on, but it was like 6 days later. So to me, it was like a blink of an eye. One minute I was saying goodnight to my friend, and the next minute it was 6 days later. So pretty crazy, but I'm okay.
That's good.
All good.
And you can obviously still play guitar, which is very good.
Yeah, obviously, as soon as I started, kind of coming to and kind of realizing what the heck happened, besides being thankful for my family and I have kids now too. One of the very first things I did sitting in that hospital bed was I started making sure that I actually remembered how to play the guitar. I started going through all the chords, like actually forming them with my hands. All right, this is a C chord and a G chord and a D chord. I started really mentally thinking, do I know how to play guitar? And I did. So I was happy about that.
Who influences your style of music? Because Names Without Numbers is unique. You don't define yourselves as a Christian band, but rather Christians in a band. You guys stylistically go from more normal rock to some really heavy stuff.
We get that question. The really heavy stuff, that's my fault.
Oh.
So, we just love music, but I definitely, for me personally, I always lean a little heavy. I'm the metal guy in the band.
Everyone has one.
Anything heavy. I remember even from a really young age, if it was heavy and the guy was screaming and it was just kind of chaotic, I loved it. I don't know why. I always lean that way. But I'm also a sucker for a pop melody. My favorite band of all time in the world is Amberlin. So definitely not a metal band by any means. But to me personally, they're my favorite band of all time. And I've just been fortunate enough to actually meet the guys and build a relationship with those guys over the years as well. and I actually named my youngest daughter Anne Berlin.
You are dedicated.
Our influences are definitely diverse. You know, like I said, I bring a little bit more of the heavier rock, the Foo Fighters, Anne Berlin edge to the band, and then our vocalist and guitar player Ryan, he definitely brings a little bit more of the like Death Cab for Cutie, the Get Up Kids influence to the music as well.
And between your old Names Without Numbers and the new Names Without Numbers, what are you leaning towards stylistic wise?
Yeah, I mean, I think we're definitely going more in I don't want to use the word pop, but definitely it's very modern, alternative rock.
More polished?
Yeah, definitely a little bit more polished. So we're definitely bringing a really modern 2019 sound to still keep our Names Without Numbers uniqueness and kind of our guitar sound, which is, I think, kind of a defining sound for our band, is kind of a unique way that me and Ryan really play guitar off of each other. We've been playing guitar together for, probably 20 years now. So we really know each other really well and what we're going to do. Definitely more of a polished, alternative indie pop rock style.
And you guys are in the middle of recording your new album.
But yeah, we're actually in the studio right now. I took a break. I'm out sitting in my car talking to you. And yeah, so we're here right now just finishing up some guitar parts. Ryan's in there right now, laying it down. And things are going really well. So once we're done with the guitars, then we'll basically send it out to like production. We'll do like, you know, all the keys and synths and a lot of really modern elements to it. So we got a little ways to go. But yeah, it's exciting. We're super stoked for people to start hearing it, hear this new Names Without Numbers sound, but still, you know, keeping that sound that people have grown to know and to love. And you know, we're honoring the past, but definitely looking forward to the future.
And just listening between Stations and Stars and the more recent The Apathy Anthem, it's a very different sound. It's more polished just because you guys have grown as a band and technology has become better, but it's very different.
Yeah, Stars Between Stations was probably our favorite song and probably one of the songs that got us the most attention back in the day. But yeah, so that compared to The Apathy Anthem, which is, you know, we're super proud of. But yeah, definitely kind of a contrast in styles for sure.
And I love it, how you guys have become more than what you were. You've evolved in a sense.
Oh, totally. Yeah. I mean, we didn't want to come back with this new record and have it just be a bunch of rehashed old ideas. You know, granted, we were sitting on a bunch of old ideas that we wrote, you know, a long time ago. But you know, like you said, as people grow, you know, we got better at our instruments. We got better with our, you know, more influences just from other bands that have popped up over the past 6 years, 7 years, 8 years, really showing our age now. But yeah, we wanted to put out something fresh, something unique, but still held that familiar sound of Names Without Numbers. But we definitely wanted to sound very modern, very relevant to the music that's being put out today. And to be honest, like one of the biggest, I guess, catalysts or like deciding factors was when that Jimmy Eat World put out their record after being kind of, you know, without putting a record out for so long. They put out Integrity Blues, and that really was like a deciding point for us. Hey, you know what? Like to us, this record is amazing. Jimmy Eat World is one of our biggest influences in this band, and like really, like that was like a really like passion point, a catalyst of, hey, let's start writing. Let's get back together. Let's do this. You know, we're all in a position in life to where we can actually kind of do this now. So let's write new, fresh songs with that classic name sound.
I'm excited to hear what you guys come out with. Do you have any idea of a timeline, like when you may start promoting it? Are we looking at 5 months, 8 months down the road?
I would probably say maybe 5 months for the official release, but probably a single maybe within the next month or so. We'll hopefully have a single ready to go and, you know, promote. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot going on with the band right now. You know, we're looking into getting the record licensed, potentially by a label, publishing, things like that. So kind of how that all pans out may speed the process up, or it may prolong the process, kind of depending on where the label's at. So there's definitely a lot going on right now, which we're super excited about.
Yeah. Are you currently with a label?
Yeah, right now we're with Indie Vision Music, just really a great kind of an independent record label, music news source. One of the big things I love about Indie Vision Music out of California is they're really into spreading the word, you know, on social media about new up and coming bands and new releases, whether it be independent bands or whether it be major label signed bands. Brandon and Indie Vision, they just do a really great job of promoting bands that they believe in. So right now we're with them.
And you guys are very clear about being Christians in a band and not a Christian band. Why do you define yourselves that way?
I think for all of us, you know, again, all of us, we're all Christians. We all love Jesus.
Right.
I'm a worship director at my church.
Mm-hmm.
But this band, when we formed this band a long time ago, like our goal wasn't to preach the gospel of Jesus Christ. I don't know if that sounds bad or not, but our goal was just simply to have a rock band. Let's have fun and let's just sing about life. You know, if the song happens to be about Jesus, well, then it is. And if the song happens to be about love and a relationship or standing up for yourself, well, then that's just what it is. You know, so this band to us is more of just a creative outlet than it is, quote unquote, a ministry. Mm-hmm. And our goal with this band was to always write positive songs and to live our life. Our actions always speak much louder than words. So when we were out on the road, let's just say, like, you know, playing bars or clubs, instead of getting hammered or getting drunk at the bar after the show, you know, we let our actions speak louder than our words. So for us, it's all about just a creative outlet, having fun as friends, and then just singing about our life and then things that we're passionate about. You know, I could just give you a quick example. Like we were talking about our old song, Stars Between Stations. So that song, I guess, has a much bigger, deeper meaning than what people are probably than what people are reading off the surface of just the lyrics. So stars between stations. So when you're listening to a radio station, and maybe an old radio, and you're dialing between stations in the static. So you know the static that you hear in between stations? Mm-hmm. Those are stars. You're actually hearing the sound of stars bouncing off of satellites. So the song is called Stars Between Stations. So the deeper meaning when we were writing that song is that sometimes people are looking for this big, huge God moment. They want this big, huge, loud, visible, audible God moments in their life. So sometimes it's those little moments in between the stations to where God will speak to us the clearest. Because when you take away all the noise and all the distractions, it's in between the spaces that, you know, where God's going to speak to us. The main hook of the song is notes sent from home. Hmm. So for us, it's basically just an analogy of the static that we're hearing is notes being sent to us from heaven, notes and messages being sent to us from God. So that's just the chorus. That's all the chorus says is notes sent from home. So, you know, that's an example of songs where it may not mention the name Jesus, but really that's what it's about.
Thank you so much for that explanation of the song. It's clear that a lot of thought goes into the lyrics of a Names Without Numbers song. And now here comes the question that always throws artists for a loop. What would win in a fight, an emu or an ostrich?
I think I saw this on your website. I was checking out the website the other day, and an emu or an ostrich. Well, without doing research, I would say, do they have to fight, or does one of them just have to get away?
It's a fight until one of them is down, or it's a fight to the death. Let's do that.
I don't know. Let's go with emu.
Emu.
Final answer.
All right. That is a good choice. Emus are known for being scrappy. They've actually won a war against Australians before, which is a ridiculous thought.
It is crazy now. We've all learned things today.
Yeah. It's called the Great Emu War. And so you got the new record coming out. You can find more information on nameswithoutnumbers.com and on the Facebook page, which is
Facebook.com/nameswithoutnumbers.
All right, and we should keep our eyes peeled there and on indievisionmusic.com for any new information about the new record coming out.